real problem with privatizing intelligence is then you open intelligence up to marketing.
Yeah.
And marketing are promises with no meat.
Yeah.
So really what needs to happen is a checks and balances, like we were saying before, where there's a government held accountable for the intelligence, but the highest performing bidder is the private intelligence firm. Think of it like a plumber. The reason you don't do the plumbing in your house, I assume, is because you can send out a request to 5 different plumbers. You can get 5 different estimates. You can have them come in and make 5 different assessments. And the one that you trust the most is the one that you try. And if he fucks up, you never hire him again.
Yeah.
That's essentially how it should work because you're the boss. It's your house. So we need an intelligence organization that is federally controlled to say the quality of intelligence has to meet this standard.
And you think if we privatize, it becomes more about marketing than quality?
If you go 100% privatized.
Yeah, look at news. Like you privatize news, you're not getting the real news. You're getting the most monetizable news.
Right.
And the exact same thing would happen with an intelligence. They're like, what does the president want to hear? Okay, we're going to go find it.
Yeah.
It's
There's
like
WMDs.
Yep.
Like, oh.
we're going to find the WMDs.
Yeah.
It's like there's certain news organizations that are like, hey, there's some racism out there. Find it.
Yeah,
I don't want to harp on this too long, but again, that is exactly what the government did. The government said there's WMDs. There were no WMDs. I just don't think this is as scary as we're making it.
Well, now I want to get into that point, which is how do you tell, or maybe the better question is it possible, because this is what you always hear, that there are corporations that are using the CIA almost as like a private military for their interests. Is there any truth to that?
I wouldn't say that. So the fact that private agencies are using CIA resources like a private army, there's no direct evidence that that is what's happening.
Hey, I got a banana factory in Nicaragua. Go start a coup because the current administration is not letting me sell my bananas.
So that's not the corporation that makes that decision, but that is the lobbyists who can lobby the policymakers who are federally appointed or voted in. They're the ones that can then direct the CIA.
And they're lobbying whom? They're lobbying the director that was appointed by the president, or they're lobbying the president and the congressman? And then, oh my God.
The president and the president's advisor panel. Because here's the other thing to keep in mind.
So the CIA is getting all this shit, and they're just doing what they're told. So it's really the politicians that should be getting the shit.
Right.
I thought the CIA was acting on their own. Well, they did in certain circumstances.
Pre-9/11, they had a lot more autonomy than they do now because the 9/11 Commission came out and said, you guys have way too much autonomy. So going back to your whole point about did they shoot JFK? Nobody really knows. Nobody really knows because they had so much autonomy.
You fucking know, dude. Did they do it or what?
If I knew, I would be a lot richer than I am right now.
Why? What would you do with that information to make so much money?
I would find a way to prove it. And I'd be the first person to ever expose the truth with the proof.
What about Abraham Lincoln?
It's another president that got shot. You got a thing for this.
CIA?
It's only a couple of them that got shot. I'd like to figure it the fuck out.
Was the CIA around in 1864?
It was OSS, dude.
Yeah. Ooh, you know. Okay.
Pony Express.
Okay, but
Pony Express.
But no, I'm not curious about why he got shot. I want to know if he was gay. You guys would know that stuff.
Yeah.
You guys had the intelligence. Was Abe Lincoln gay?
I don't know. CIA didn't exist. OSS didn't exist. Back then, it was, I don't even know if the federal marshal.
CIA doesn't have gaydar?
Yeah.
We need that, dude.
They have gaydar because they're recruiting for gay right now.
What does that mean?
They want to diversify into LGBTQ+, all the various, they want that kind of diversity because the government is trying to bring back young people. And because they lost all their young people from like two.
Yeah, young people are gay.
You can get in.
Yeah, young people are gayer for sure.
But now, isn't there an advantage in having some gay operatives?
Yeah, because to the Middle East.
Exactly. Yeah. No, for real. They can see if they can fly. It turns out we can't fly. It's a good experiment. Yeah. No, but maybe you could use them as. I know that you say that in the CIA you guys don't use the honeypot thing, but like that would be advantageous. You go to the Middle East. You're like, hey, like I'm kind of half gay, and if there is some Sheik out there that is a little bit gay, he might feel a little bit more safe getting his cheeks rinsed by a guy who's not from there, who's not going to tell anybody.
Right. So here's the.
And now he's an asset.
Here's the interesting thing that people don't understand about CIA.
Yeah.
CIA has always been one of the most diverse workforces in America.
You need to.
Always.
You're getting intelligence from out there.
You said that helped you get hired.
Correct. I'm a brown dude.
Yeah. You're actually good.
I'm ambiguously brown.
Yeah.
So nobody knows where I'm from. I mean, I did not have good grades in college. I was a bad officer in the Air Force. Like, I am not your Ivy League white guy that was pre 9/11, CIA.
Yeah.
And that's just me. I mean, there are thousands of people that were recruited with me, diverse in every possible way. The thing was, it wasn't front and center CIA recruitment marketing that you have to be diverse, right? So what ended up happening was they would find people the way they find people. They would run them through a psychological profiling as part of your recruitment. And then they would find out like, oh, you're gay or you're straight or you're this, you're that, or whatever else, right? You believe in two gods or whatever it might be. But they would run you through a profile, and the profile would tell them that you're crazy in a specific kind of way. That's very useful for collecting intelligence.
Like, for example?
So the reason I'm here today is because you were referencing something I mentioned once about psychological high performance trauma, right? People who have a certain amount of trauma when they're kids become high performers later in life. What that's really saying is that we're a little bit crazy, but we're crazy in a useful way, versus a person who has so much trauma that they end up being like PTSD.
Great at sex or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I mean, even that's still useful crazy.
That is. Right, it is.
But I'm talking about the kind of crazy that ends
Shout
up with
out to my
somebody
20s,
shooting the people, like somebody who goes in and starts shooting up a grocery store, or somebody who ends
That's
up.
too much crazy. So
That's
they're trying
too
to
much
find
crazy.
the right amount of crazy.
Right.
Okay.
And and that's useful. So it used to be that they could bring in people who looked normal, right? Who looked like they blended in, and then find the ones that were useful crazy. Now they're basically advertising like, hey, we want you if
Who's
you're
gay?
Yeah.
Are they going, hey, if you're gay, you had enough trauma in your life that you might be crazy enough to be in the CIA? I mean that sincerely.
Maybe that's that might be part of their strategy. But if you see them, they are openly advertising to diverse groups.
I would assume that the world is more openly, you're more comfortable being openly gay, openly whatever. So that person will fit in better with those groups. Whereas before, in the 50s maybe, being gay was something you probably hid from.
In the 90s, man, we hid from that stuff. But then there's also, don't forget, it's a federal organization. So guess what federal organizations have to mandate? Diversity hires.
Yeah.
So you have to have this many women. You have to have this many gay people. You have to have this many people who identify as females but are actually have male sex organs. And you have to, like, there's all these government regulations, especially in a democratically controlled executive,
right?
That whenever they dictate the requirements to CIA.